At the age of 18, we can send you off to war, but California doesn't think you should be able to buy a semi-automatic centerfire rifle. Welcome to another installment of Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms LLC, P.A.N. Firearms for your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343 or use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. Let's talk about this here. Now, California. Basically, they put a law in place in July 1st of 2021 to stop anyone from the age of 18 to 20 from purchasing a semi-automatic firearms. And this, I assume, was in response to a federal judge striking down California's assault weapons ban as being unconstitutional. I believe that was May of the same year, 2021, that happened. But what has happened now is, as of May 11th of 2022, another court has struck down California's ban on automatic or semi-automatic gun sales to people under 21 as being unconstitutional. Now, we have to set foundation first. So, this is federal law here. This is your USCCA website where I found this information. Federal minimum age to purchase and possess handguns. Minimum age of for possession of handguns. Subject to limited exceptions, federal law prohibits the possession. Unlawful for a person to sell, deliver, or otherwise transfer to a person who the transfer knows or has reasonable cause to believe is a juvenile of a handgun or handgun ammunition by any person under the age of 18. Exceptions. Temporary transfer and possession of handguns and handgun ammunition for specified activities, including employment, ranching, farming, target practice, hunting, provided the juvenile is in possession of a prior written consent of the juvenile's parent or guardian who is not prohibited by federal, state, or local law from possessing a firearm. A juvenile who is a member of the Armed Forces of the United States. I was 17 when I joined the Marine Corps, so technically that's where I fall into that. Or the National Guard who possesses or is armed with a handgun in the line of duty at transfer by inheritance of title but not possession of a handgun or ammunition or to a juvenile, or the possession of a handgun or ammunition by a juvenile taken in defense of the juvenile or other persons against an intruder into the residence of the juvenile or a residence in which the juvenile is an invited guest. And that covers the stories that you hear about teenagers, 14-year-olds, 15-year-olds, using a firearm in the house to defend themselves against an intruder. That's going to cover. But minimum age of sales and transfers of handguns. Dealers may not sell or deliver a handgun or ammunition for a handgun to any person the dealer has reasonable cause to believe is under age 21. Licensed dealers cannot sell handguns, to people who are under 21. Note, a federal appeals court has ruled on July 13, 2021 that the existing minimum age requirement, 21 years old, for purchases from federally licensed gun dealers restricts the rights of law-abiding citizens and draws an arbitrary, unjustified line. The decision, which probably will be appealed to the full court, that 18-year-olds possess a Second Amendment right to gun ownership. The ruling does not mean that 18 to 20-year-olds can immediately buy handguns from federal dealers. The court's order sends the case back to district court in Charlottesville and gives the government an opportunity to ask the full Fourth Circuit to rehear the case. Unlicensed persons. Unlicensed persons may not sell, deliver, or otherwise transfer a handgun or handgun ammunition to any person the transferor knows or has reasonable cause to believe is under 18. However, subject to state law, someone between the age of 18 to 21 and is not a prohibited possessor of firearms may be allowed to acquire a handgun from somebody who is not a licensed dealer. Exceptions exclude those noted above per 18 U.S. Code 922X3. And all the links are in there. So that's setting the foundation. Now, as I said, California expanded that ideal to say that anyone from the ages of 18 to 20 could not buy a semi-automatic centerfire rifle. California court has stepped in, the federal appeals court, and struck down that law. And we go through here. There's a CNN article here. Court strikes down California ban on semi-automatic gun sales to those under 21. A federal appeals court struck down a California law prohibiting sales of semi-automatic firearms to anyone under 21 years of age, according to a decision filed Wednesday. The law, and there's a link there, you can look at that actual law, which had been in effect since July 1st, 2021, also restricted purchases of semi-automatic weapons to one per month for all ages. Judge Ryan D. Nelson of the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals said in his opinion that the law infringed on the Second Amendment rights of those ages 18 to 21. Quote, America would not exist without the heroism of the young adults who fought and died in our Revolutionary War and Civil War. Today, we affirm that our Constitution still protects the right that enabled their sacrifice, the right of young adults to keep and bear arms, Nelson wrote. And that ideal of people under the age of 18 expands all the way through World War I, World War II, Vietnam, Korea. There were many instances of people who lie about their age because they're too young to then go serve. That's not a new phenomenon. But Judge Kenneth Lee concurred, writing, we cannot allow good intentions to trump an enumerated and fundamental right deeply rooted in the history and tradition of this country. State Attorney General Rob Bonta's office said they were reviewing the 2-1 decision. California will continue to take all necessary steps to prevent and reduce gun violence. They don't talk nothing about locking up criminals. They just say we're going to reduce gun violence, and their answer is just to make bans. But that's a whole other subject, which I know I've spoken on. We remain committed to defending California's common sense gun laws. There's that key word, common sense. Whose common sense we're talking about? They don't tell you that part. Which saves lives and makes our communities safer, as a statement from his office says. Gun laws don't make communities safer because criminals don't follow law. But the Firearms Policy Coalition, a gun rights nonprofit, was among the groups that brought the case. Today's decision confirms that peaceable legal adults cannot be prohibited from acquiring firearms and exercising their rights enshrined in the Second Amendment. Adam Kraut, Coalition Vice President of Program, said in a statement, and the statement is there, you can look at that. The decision did not affect an existing California law that requires adults over 18 but under 21 years of age to have a valid hunting license to purchase rifles or shotguns. California Senator Anthony Portantino, who authored both bills, said in a statement to CNN, quote, though I'm disappointed to have the semi-automatic centerfire rifle provision struck down by the court, I'm pleased that the general provisions of SB 1100 raising the firearm purchase age to 21 is still the law in California. I remain committed to keeping deadly weapons out of the wrong hands. Student safety on our campuses is something we should all rally behind, and sensible gun control is part of that solution. The word salad, it's amazing. But there's another article here. I'm not going to read all of it because a lot of it's repeating, but there is information within this that should be noted. But Blaze Media, court slaps down California ban against selling semi-automatic rifles to young adults. And they're the same information here in the appeals court, and the quotes from the various judges. But this section here, right here, there we go. Specifically, after first banning only the sale of handguns, California then prohibited the sale of young adults of almost any kind of firearm. The only exception was for sales of long guns to young adults having a state hunting license. Our peace officers, active federal officers, or active federal law enforcement agencies are allowed to carry firearms for their work. Are active or honorably discharged members of the military, the opinion states. Quote, several young adults, gun shops, and advocacy groups sued, asking the district court to enjoin the long gun check. Several young adults, gun shops, and advocacy groups sued, asking the district court to enjoin the long gun regulation under the 2nd and 14th Amendment. Then, while the suit was pending, California again amended the law banning sales of semi-automatic centerfire rifles to young adults, an exception only law enforcement officers and active duty military, but not hunting license holders. In response, plaintiffs withdrew their motion for a preliminary injunction, amended their complaint to challenge the new ban, and again sought a preliminary injunction now of both the long gun regulation and the semi-automatic rifle ban. The opinion continues. We hold that the district court did not abuse its discretion in declining to enjoin the requirement that young adults obtain a hunting license to purchase long gun, but the district court erred in not enjoining an almost total ban on semi-automatic centerfire rifles, Nelson noted. Okay, so there's a lot of information there. But basically what it comes down to at its core is at the age of 18, heck, at the age of 17. Technically, I was 17 when I was in the Marine Corps, when I was in boot camp. I actually turned 18 while in boot camp. But we're saying to these people, these young adults, because once you reach 18, you can vote, you can get married, and they can also lock you up in adult prison when you do adult dumb things. But we're telling them that as a good person, at the age of 18, you can't own these items. And they're not giving you a very rigid reason why. They're just telling you can't own these items. And that just sounds backwards to me. If you've proven yourself to be a good person, there should be no limit to your freedoms. Now, this obviously, so this opens up the door for semi-automatic firearms across the board, on top of the appeals court back in 2021 overturning the handgun restriction on persons age 18 to 20. Is going to see how it plays across the country. Here in Connecticut, obviously, you have to get a pistol permit in order to buy a handgun. You can't get a pistol permit until you're 21. So, how will this play out as it goes? Obviously, this could go all the way to the Supreme Court because California just seems to think it has all the money in the world to spend on ideals that don't necessarily align with the will of the people. But as I said, we'll see how it plays out when it gets to this, as it goes through the court system. It's still the appeals court, so if it goes to the appeals, and this is I believe it's the Ninth Circuit kicked it back down to the Fourth Circuit. So we got to wait for the Fourth Circuit to go through their thing again. And it's going to come back to the Ninth Circuit, and the Ninth Circuit is going to make their decision, and then probably the next move is going to be the Supreme Court. Very interesting how that's going to resonate across the country when it comes to not even so much rifles, but when it comes to handguns. The federal law is 21, but that was challenged and supposedly overturned last year, but it's still in appeal. So you got to watch this one very carefully. Are we going to start running, once again, you prove yourself to be a law-abiding citizen. Your freedoms don't get curtailed based on that, on your age. Because we can, like I said, we can send you to war and arm you with some incredibly deadly weaponry, but you can't buy a semi-automatic centerfire rifle in California. Little backwards. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any comments of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get notified the next time a video goes live. And I will see you on the next one.